You're listening to Big World Network.
Pathological Passion, written by Jared and Lisa Kwan, read by Wendy Herman. Episode 5. Everyone stepped back as the building EMTs slid Eric onto the stretcher to have him checked out. "Well, you don't see that every day," Jenny said. When there was no reaction to the comment, she put her hand on Elise's shoulder. "Are you okay?" Elise flinched a little as she escaped her thoughts for a moment. "I have to go," she said promptly. "Okay, are we still on for lunch?" Jenny asked as the door shut with Elise's departure. "Or not." Elise reached her desk in record time as different thoughts clashed in her mind. Why would he mention those authors? "Jarvis, I need the summary for Project Indigo," Elise said urgently. "Yes, ma'am, I have that for you now," Jarvis replied. "Summarize the project thesis," Elise ordered as she slid files back and forth on her desktop. "Very well. Project Indigo is an effort to further education by tapping into an individual's subconscious, giving the individual the ability to learn whole books and manuals, thus making full use of their resting periods." "Is there anything in the project report or objectives that talks about dreams?" Elise asked as she reviewed the project incident that had been reported to her a day earlier. "After reviewing the project's notes, indexes, and obscure notes, I have found one reference to dreams," Jarvis reported. "Please summarize the context of the reference," she said, looking over the medical reviews of the building. "In summary, it says that the project has the potential to eventually be developed to be used for mass training while in the REM state. However, I must note that there is no scenario in preliminary testing that indicates anything concerning dreams," Jarvis said. "May I ask why we are researching this topic?" "I am playing a hunch," Elise replied. "I think that Indigo may have inadvertently moved to random human trials when they had that containment breach they neglected to tell me about until yesterday." "How would you like for me to proceed?" Jarvis asked. "I was afraid Tim had underestimated the seriousness of the issue. That's why I started the health screening, just to be sure. We need to see if we can move up the mandatory screenings and complete them as quickly as possible," Elise said as she began typing out possible solutions on her desktop. "There is also another issue, Elise," Jarvis said. "What is it?" "I can confirm for you that the intern who was recently removed from your office matches facial recognition with the man from your dreams." Elise froze as realization struck her, and she understood why he had looked so familiar. She looked up as her office door opened. "We need to talk," Jenny said with a very concerned look on her face. "What's going on?" Elise quickly replied as she slid her hand off to the side, moving the data on her desktop out of view. "I just got an email from 3 of my project supervisors telling me that they are quarantined with a handful of their staff," Jenny said. She raised her left hand and made a pushing motion with her right, which shared the information with Elise's desk. "That isn't the worst part. There are rumors spreading about what this could be. What was R&D working on?" Elise's partial smile slowly melted into a serious look. For a moment she opened her mouth and then let out a sigh. "Jenny, a basic project broke contamination. The quarantine is just a precaution until we are certain that there aren't any adverse reactions." "Elise, drop the act. I deserve the facts on this one," Jenny replied. "Jenny, this could be a problem. We really don't know how serious it is. I was told everything had been contained. However, I promise you that the chance this is something that causes death or permanent damage is very low." "You could have told me earlier," Jenny said sharply. "You have potentially put people's lives at risk, not to mention my own." "Jenny, I am so sorry. Tim assured me," she began to reply. "Wow, you are the most amazing and talented person I know, and you didn't think to follow up on something this big?" "But I did. That's why I authorized the screenings." Jenny promptly turned her back to Elise and took a step towards the door. But she froze in her tracks when she heard sniffling. "Jenny, I am in over my head on this. I'm losing my mind with these dreams, and to top it off, the project that broke contamination is the key project we've been working on for the last 2 years. This could be the end of my career," Elise said tearfully, as she wiped the tears away with her fingers. "Elise, I am still rightly upset with you," Jenny said as she turned towards the desk again. "But right now I need you to tell me how I can help. We need to figure out how to double the budget for this health screening, for the quarantine, and to increase the number of people working on this so we get through it as quickly as possible. And we need to get tested ASAP," Elise said as she stood up. "You know, if we increase the budget, that it will draw the unwanted attention of the board," Jenny said. "I have a feeling it's already too late for that," Elise replied. "We can get tested downstairs at medical. We can say we're there to check in on the intern. Besides, she really did want to see him again, if he was indeed the man she called Marcus. Well, I have some projects I can use to fund this, but you owe me way more than just one on this," Jenny said as she walked over to the desk. "I'll get things queued up from here and head down right behind you. What is the name of the project the mandatory screening is under?" "Operation Steampunk," Elise said as she headed for the door. Jenny's eyebrows furrowed at the name. "That's curious. Why that name?" "You know, I have been wondering that for a while now, but I'm not quite sure," Elise replied. The response elicited a quick mutual shrug. Elise felt a little better about the circumstances as she entered the elevator. This could really be the end of her career. At least she had a mostly good record behind her, as long as no one died from this thing. Without even realizing it, Elise soon found herself walking into the emergency department, a few floors down. "Miss Mayweather, what can we do for you?" a nurse asked. "Yes, I believe a team picked up a passed-out intern from my office. I wanted to see how he's doing," she answered. "Oh, you mean Eric? Funny guy," the nurse said. "He's awake?" Elise asked with a surprised look on her face. Well, no, but when he is awake, he's pretty funny," she replied. "Come on back and you can see him." "What did you do to him, anyway?" the nurse asked as they navigated through the department. "What?" Elise asked. "We have a running bet on him. I mean, did he slip on something, or did you knock him out?" the nurse said, laughing. "Nothing like that. He just fell down and cracked his head." "Well, there he is, still out. We did a CT on him, and it looks like a mild concussion," the nurse said. "Is there anything else I can do for you?" As advertised, Eric laid passed out on a medical bed with several monitors connected to him. Elise couldn't deny that he was indeed her dream man now that she could get a good look at him again. "Yes, I needed to see if I can get tested as a part of Operation Steampunk." "Your floor isn't scheduled until tomorrow, but since you're here, I guess we can screen you really quick," the nurse said. "Just follow me." "Thank you for your assistance," Elise said. "No problem," the nurse said over her shoulder as they entered a smaller room. "Doc, we have one more for Steampunk." "Great, just take a spot in line or have a seat if you need to rest," the doctor said. Then he picked up a super-long 6-inch needle as he prepared to administer it to the next patient. Elise could feel the blood drain from her head, and she watched everyone in front of her in line and in the seats around the room give a similarly panicked look. Then she found everything going black as she passed out.
You're listening to Big World Network.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.